Out of 27 failing restaurants that Gordon Ramsay attempted to save in the original UK Kitchen Nightmares, only 3 remain open today, but their survival stories might surprise you. Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, the groundbreaking British reality television series that premiered on Channel 4 in 2004, established the template for one of Gordon Ramsay's most enduring television formats. The original UK program comprised 7 series, totaling 27 original restaurant interventions that aired over 10 years. The show won multiple prestigious awards and spawned an American adaptation that, while successful, is widely considered inferior to the original British version. More than 2 decades later, does any evidence remain of Ramsay's early culinary rescues? Or did these struggling establishments eventually succumb to the notoriously brutal restaurant industry? Let's start way back in 2003, when Gordon visited the Walnut Tree Inn in Abergavenny, Wales, in one of the very first episodes of the series. Unlike many of the restaurants on the show, this establishment already had a respected reputation in the UK, having previously won a Michelin star. In fact, it is one of the most famous restaurants in Wales. The Walnut Tree has been a food lover's destination since the early 1960s, when Franco Terruccio owned it. Terruccio, Britain's first celebrity chef, created a culinary landmark that pioneered the gastropub concept in the UK. Franco sold the restaurant to Francesco Mattioli in 2000. But within just 3 years, the restaurant began struggling badly. By the time Gordon arrived to film Kitchen Nightmares, he found a restaurant that sometimes had 0 dinner guests, despite its star rating. The head chef had departed, leaving Francesco to run the kitchen himself, though his controlling nature and inability to delegate were causing problems. Ramsay identified several issues: bland, overpriced food, including gritty fish stew for £28, stubborn resistance to lowering prices, and poor leadership in the kitchen. Despite changes and a successful relaunch party attended by Franco himself, Francesco refused to implement Ramsay's crucial advice about lowering prices. This stubbornness would prove costly as the situation continued to deteriorate. When Ramsay returned a year later in 2004, he found business still unpredictable. A heated confrontation ensued when Francesco again rejected Ramsay's pricing suggestions.
Are you stupid?
No, I'm not.
Are you thick or something?
No, I'm not.
You are?
No.
You haven't taken a fucking thing?
No.
Because you're so fucking stubborn, you're not interested.
With the chef ultimately storming out in frustration. Even before the original episode aired in May 2004, Francesco and his wife were already doing damage control, fearing how they would be portrayed in the episode. His wife Enrica told the BBC they really wish they had not done it, and that they were outraged and very angry. They went on to say that when they signed up for the show, since it was the inaugural season, being only the 3rd episode of the entire show, they weren't aware that the series would be called Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. We were given an idea of what the title would be, which was obviously nothing like that. Otherwise, no one in their right mind would join it. Francesco defended his record in another interview, saying, "I don't think Gordon knows any more than I do. The catering business isn't easy. We work 18-hour days. There is no such thing as a celebrity chef. There are just very good chefs who manipulate the industry to make money." His wife said it was a mistake to go on the show because it made them look like they were too expensive. It put people off. "We did have customers with Bentleys and Porsches, but we didn't want people to feel intimidated by this. Everybody was welcome." Yet, despite initially publicly blaming the show for portraying their restaurant as overpriced, the couple later said they felt reassured after seeing the finished program, and said their friendship with Ramsay hadn't soured. Francesco said at the time the program would even provide good publicity and advertising for the restaurant. And though there was a brief uptick in customers after the episode aired, the restaurant continued to struggle, losing its Michelin star and eventually shutting its doors due to insolvency in February 2007. But as one chapter closed, another was about to begin for the historic establishment. The story dramatically turns in December 2007, when accomplished chef Sean Hill purchased and reopened the restaurant. Under Hill's leadership, the Walnut Tree returned to its roots as a relaxed establishment with exceptional food. By 2009, it was named Best Restaurant in Britain by Gourmet Britain, and in 2010, it regained its Michelin star, which it has maintained since, including being awarded again for 2025. Now at 77 years old, Sean Hill has become one of the most legendary names in British cooking. He shared his opinion of Kitchen Nightmares and why he thinks it was a bad decision for the restaurant to be featured on the program.
I think that the decision to have Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares was a very dumb one by Francesco, who owed it. I don't know if he thought they were going to come in and say how great it all was and have a 2-minute program. And I had 17 or 18 emails from people telling me basically what a tosser I am, assuming that I was their previous ownership. There are still people who think that it hasn't changed, of course. They'll know different once they come. But the plus side is there might still be people who think it's how it was when it was Franco and Anne.
If you are ever in Wales, you may want to check out the Walnut Tree. But don't worry, it won't break the bank. The Walnut Tree also has the happy distinction of being one of the cheapest Michelin-starred restaurants in the UK, proving that Francesco's original stance on high pricing was indeed misguided. If only he listened to Ramsay, things might have turned out differently. Kitchen Nightmares was a hit when it premiered in 2004 on Britain's Channel 4. The show was soon nominated for several awards, including National Television Awards for Most Popular Factual Program in both 2004 and 2008, and Most Popular TV Expert in 2005. Then it received multiple prestigious awards, including the BAFTA TV Award for Best Features in both 2005 and 2008, demonstrating its sustained quality. Additionally, the series won an International Emmy Award in 2006 for non-scripted entertainment, proving its global appeal extended beyond British audiences. The production values consistently showcase the gritty reality of struggling restaurants, with unfiltered access to kitchens, dining rooms, and the often heated discussions between Ramsay and restaurant staff. Unlike many reality shows, the UK version maintains a documentary-style approach, allowing the natural drama of failing businesses to drive the narrative, rather than manufacturing conflict. Though the show doesn't shy away from showing the harsh realities of the restaurant industry, including the personal toll these failing businesses take on their owners. User reviews consistently praise the UK version for its authenticity and focus on the culinary and business aspects of the restaurant rescue, rather than manufactured drama. Ramsay's approach in the UK version has earned praise for being more authentic and constructive, contrasting with his more deliberately confrontational persona in the US adaptation. While the Walnut Tree's story ended in remarkable success, not all of Gordon's Kitchen Nightmares interventions fared so well. The Sandgate Hotel in Folkestone, Kent, represented Ramsay's first venture into hotel rescue before he later created the dedicated series Hotel Hell. This Victorian beachfront property, perched just 24 miles across the English Channel from France, seemed like it should have been a gold mine. When Gordon arrived in 2005, he found a hotel hemorrhaging £2,000 weekly, with 4 separate dining areas under one roof: a main dining room, an outdoor barbecue area, a terrace bar, and Kent's first Japanese restaurant in the basement. Owners Peter and Lois Hamilton Slade, a former engineer and airport perfume saleswoman with no hospitality experience, had invested their life savings into the property, and were facing potential losses of up to £250,000 if they couldn't turn things around. And get this, while it's Peter and Lois, guess what the chef is named? That's right, Stuart White was struggling to execute an impossible 186 dishes across 4 different menus. Despite previously holding a prestigious AA Rosette Award, the restaurant was losing customers due to inconsistent quality. Meanwhile, the establishment was overstaffed with more employees than customers on many nights, including 3 managers sharing authority with no clear chain of command. Gordon tackled these problems by simplifying the menus, converting the struggling Japanese restaurant into a private dining room, and helping Lois assert her authority over the chaotic staff. He also addressed the problematic culture of staff treating the premises as their personal pub after hours, implementing a new policy that the bar was for paying customers only. Gordon's intervention initially seemed to work wonders for the struggling hotel. The hotel showed promising signs of improvement during Ramsay's revisit 6 weeks later. Stewart had implemented a new pager system for servers. Customer numbers had increased to 40 to 50 covers midweek, with weekends selling out. And turnover had nearly doubled to £14,500 weekly. However, the long-term success story never materialized. The hotel was sold shortly after the show aired in February 2006, suggesting the business still struggled through the winter months despite the improvements. This would mark the beginning of a tumultuous journey for the seaside property over the next 2 decades. The Sandgate Hotel would change hands multiple times, undergo various renovations, and even operate a controversial basement nightclub that disturbed hotel guests with loud music until the early morning. After surviving the 2008 recession and a basement fire in 2012, the hotel continued with mixed reviews until it finally ceased trading in November 2022. The restaurant briefly reopened as Lido Bon Vino, serving Italian cuisine in 2023, but that venture closed in 2024, and in May 2024, the company that owned the Sandgate Hotel applied to be dissolved. Hopefully, the Sandgate Hotel will greet guests once more in the future. That's why I'm including it on the list, as it may return one day. The property's prime beachfront location and historic Victorian charm could still make it a viable business with the right ownership and concept. Interestingly, the Sandgate Hotel does appear on several online lists of Kitchen Nightmares establishments that are still open, despite its closure in 2022. This confusion likely stems from outdated information being continually republished across various sites, as well as the fact that the property remained operational in some capacity for over 16 years after Gordon's visit, an unusually long survival rate compared to many Kitchen Nightmares businesses that closed within months or even a few years after filming. While 2 of Gordon's UK rescues had totally different outcomes, another one is a pub still going strong today. Traveling to Cloughton, Lancashire, we find the Fenwick Arms, a 250-year-old pub that represents another Kitchen Nightmares success story. Though, like the Walnut Tree, it took a change in ownership to make it work. When Gordon visited in 2006, he found owners Brian Ray and Elaine Howden working crazy 120-hour weeks, despite being well past retirement age. Brian, who had recently had heart surgery, was obsessed with his homemade sauces and weird plate collection.
I love plates.
Looks like you've got the Queen coming for fucking dinner.
The pub was losing money because it felt like a bad, fancy restaurant instead of a cozy British pub, with complicated dishes and a stiff atmosphere. Ramsay made some big changes. He simplified the menu, got Brian to get rid of his mountains of decorative plates, even taking him to watch them being crushed at a junkyard, and created a marketing campaign about real gravy to give the pub something special. The relaunch went well, but when Gordon came back later, he found Brian had gone back to his old ways, putting all his elaborate dishes back on the menu. External factors would soon compound the internal challenges. Things got harder when a new pub called the Highwayman opened nearby and took many of their regular customers. During a follow-up visit, Brian admitted he was exhausted and ready to retire from the restaurant business. In 2008, Brian and Elaine sold the Fenwick Arms, but they didn't actually retire. Instead, they bought the Ship Inn, where they kept using the real gravy idea with great results, getting 4.5 stars on TripAdvisor. Their pub even had some royal visitors when Princes William and Harry came in during a wedding trip in 2011. The Fenwick Arms itself initially closed in 2011, but found new life when the Seafood Pub Company purchased and reopened it in 2013. This change in ownership seems to have provided some stability that the historic establishment desperately needed. Meanwhile, after dealing with the pandemic and surviving a small fire in 2021 at their Ship Inn, Brian and Elaine finally retired in January 2023 after 45 years in the service industry. They definitely earned their retirement after all that. Moving to Sheffield, Britain's 4th largest city, we find our final success story. Silversmiths, formerly known as the Runaway Girl, was a transformation that represented one of the most dramatic and enduring changes in Kitchen Nightmares history. When Gordon arrived in 2008, he found the runaway girl losing 1,000 pounds weekly during a recession. Owner Justin Roundtree, a former recruitment specialist who remortgaged his house to pursue his dream, was more focused on making it a music venue than a restaurant. The dark, cavernous design made Gordon remark that it looked more like a strip club rather than a place to eat. The food situation wasn't much better. Despite Justin's claims of authentic Spanish tapas, head chef Richie Russell was forced to use reheated dishes because Justin wouldn't let him make purchasing decisions. The restaurant was trying to be too many things: a Spanish restaurant run by a British owner in a space that looked like a nightclub, with dreams of becoming a music venue. After some tense confrontations, including Richie threatening to quit if Justin didn't accept changes,
Listen to what he's got to say!
Rich, I'm listening, I'm trying.
All I've heard you do since fucking Monday is waffle on. Like a fucking pussy!
Gordon's team transformed the space. They got rid of the Spanish concept and rebranded as Silversmiths, focusing on modern British food made with simple, fresh, local ingredients. The black walls disappeared, replaced by a brighter, more open design. Though Justin initially resisted, the tears that followed revealed he understood the necessity of change. What followed was something rarely seen in Kitchen Nightmares: a true transformation, not just of the restaurant, but of the owner's mindset. Unlike many Kitchen Nightmares establishments, Silversmiths not only survived, but thrived after Gordon's visit. Justin remained committed to the changes, continuing with additional renovations, including painting the exterior navy blue and replacing black leather wall panels with lighter wood. The restaurant secured a spot in the Good Food Guide for 3 consecutive years and won numerous other awards. Oh, and if you're wondering why it's called Silversmiths, the name pays homage to Sheffield's metalworking roots, back when the city was nicknamed Steel City. This very building was once George Ellis's silver and cutlery shop, and just streets away, chemist Harry Brelly invented stainless steel in 1912. A dozen years later, his colleague, Dr. W. H. Hatfield, perfected the famous 18-8 alloy, 18% chromium, 8% nickel, that keeps knives and forks shining today. As for Justin, he continued to operate Silversmiths for 8 more years after Ramsay's visit, before selling it to his accountant in 2017. This transition began a period of instability for the once thriving establishment. The restaurant went through a couple of short-term owners before finding stability again in 2019. The new owners gave the place yet another remodel, painting both exterior and interior teal blue and bringing back some of the ambient lighting, while keeping the successful elements of Gordon's changes. In 2024, Silversmiths saw another exciting development when Tom Wells Lomas took over as head chef. Interestingly, Tom was originally trained by Gordon Ramsay himself at Claridge's years earlier, so history is coming full circle. Today, Silversmiths continues to thrive with a solid 4-star rating and ranked among the top 10% of restaurants worldwide by TripAdvisor for the past 2 years, cementing its status as one of Gordon Ramsay's most successful Kitchen Nightmares rescues. In a heartwarming moment on The Nightly Show in 2017, Justin surprised Gordon as a guest, thanking him for his help, a fitting conclusion to a true Kitchen Nightmares success story.
Is here tonight. Hey, Justin Roundtree!
Despite Ramsay announcing in 2009 that he wouldn't continue with Kitchen Nightmares after his 4-year contract expired in 2011, the show returned for a final series in 2014. This last series was rebranded as Ramsay's Costa del Nightmares and focused on failing restaurants owned by British expatriates abroad, providing a fresh angle for the established format. None of the 4 Costa del Nightmares restaurants remain open today, though. Also, unfortunately, no restaurants from the original Kitchen Nightmares UK still operate today under their original owners. This would imply they would have been running for at least 15 to 20 years, which is several lifetimes for a typical restaurant. Arguably, the original UK Kitchen Nightmares' most enduring legacy is in the restaurant rescue format in reality television. The show's format proved so successful that it inspired not only the American adaptation, but also influenced later Ramsay productions like 24 Hours to Hell and Back and Hotel Hell. Other reality TV rescue shows like Robert Irvine's Restaurant Impossible and John Taffer's Bar Rescue owe a lot to the original Kitchen Nightmares for popularizing the reality restaurant/bar/establishment rescue show genre as a whole. The show continues to hold favor amongst viewers, not just in the UK, but globally. According to Parrot Analytics, audience demand for Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares is 13.4 times the demand of the average TV series in the UK, indicating its enduring popularity even years after its conclusion.